All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to break down one of the most challenging and honestly most feared parts of any application, the personal statement. But don't worry, we're going to turn this whole daunting task into a clearer, manageable process, and it's all thanks to this fantastic guide from the Flying Wings online school.
Okay, let's just get right into it. This is the big question, right? How in the world are you supposed to fit your entire life, all your ambitions, everything that makes you you, into just a few hundred words? It feels impossible, but I promise, by the end of this, you're going to have a solid blueprint to get it done.
Okay, so before we even think about writing, let's all get on the same page. First things first, what even is a personal statement? What's its real purpose?
So here's the thing you've got to get. This is not just a list of your accomplishments. It's personal, it's reflective, it's a narrative. It's designed to show that selection committee who you are beyond the grades and the resume. You know, this is your one chance to really give your application to human voice.
And this right here is a super important distinction. They are not the same thing. A personal statement is your story. A statement of purpose, or SOP, is all about your academic plan. And a motivation letter? Well, that's you arguing why you're the perfect fit. Knowing the difference is absolutely critical.
So now that we know what it is and what it isn't, let's get into the good stuff, the blueprint for building a great one. We're going to start with the fundamental qualities that every single strong statement has in common. You know, a strong statement has to be authentic. It's got to sound like you. But the real magic ingredient, it's reflection. See, it's not enough to just say what you did. You have to dig deeper and explain what those experiences actually taught you, how they made you the person you are right now. Think of this 6-part structure as your roadmap. It's going to guide the reader on this really logical journey, starting with a hook that grabs them and ending with a conclusion that shows them where you're headed. It's how you build a really powerful narrative. All right, time to get our hands dirty. Let's start actually building this statement piece by piece, kicking things off with that all-important opening hook. Your goal with that very first sentence is to just grab their attention immediately. You want to start with a short story, a key realization, or some defining moment that sets up your whole theme, just like this example does. It's personal, it's insightful, and honestly, it just makes you want to keep reading, right? Okay, next step, when you're talking about your background, the absolute key is to focus on the impact. Don't just describe your town or your school. You need to explain how those experiences, like maybe not having access to great schools or having to study on your own, how they actually built your character, your work ethic, and your goals. Now, this is a big one. When you talk about challenges, you are not looking for sympathy. The goal is to show that you're resilient. You want to frame every single obstacle as an opportunity that taught you something valuable, whether that was discipline, perseverance, or just creative problem solving. And this brings us to what is maybe the golden rule of storytelling: show, don't tell. I mean, look, anyone can write, "I am hardworking." Big deal. But describing a situation that forced you to be hardworking, that's so much more powerful. You have to let your experiences be the proof. Okay, this is the pivot point of your entire essay. This is where you connect all the dots. You're connecting your past journey directly to your future goals. You're basically explaining why this specific opportunity is the only logical and necessary next step for you based on everything you've just told them. And finally, the conclusion. You want to stick the landing here. It should be short, sweet, and confident. Just briefly wrap up your story, say again why you're ready for what's next, and leave that reader with a really clear, inspiring idea of your purpose and your vision for the future. Okay, the structure is there, the story is there. Now we got to talk about the finishing touches, the polish. This is what's going to make your statement look professional, feel powerful, and just be easy to read. Getting the tone right is everything. You want to sound like an articulate, professional version of yourself. So use I, write in the active voice. It just sounds more direct and confident. And pick clear, precise words instead of trying to sound overly complex. Remember, clarity is king. Seriously, before you even think about hitting that submit button, run your draft through this checklist. And here's a pro tip. Read it out loud. Does it flow? Does it actually sound like you? And please be ready to revise it a few times. Your first draft is never, ever your final draft. And finally, let's go over the common traps people fall into, because knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what you should do. The biggest mistake, and I mean by far, is just repeating your resume in paragraph form. Look, they already have your CV.
They don't need to read it again. Your personal statement is your chance to explain the meaning behind all those bullet points. Always, always focus on the why and the how. That's where the real story is.
So after all this work, the structuring, the writing, the editing, what's the single most important thing you need to remember? This right here is the core idea. Don't try to be the perfect candidate. Nobody's perfect. Instead, just focus on being honest, showing what you've learned from your experiences, and demonstrating that you have a clear sense of purpose. Authenticity is way more compelling than perfection every single time. And please remember this, your unique journey, especially the challenges you've had to overcome, that's not a weakness you should hide. That's your greatest strength. It is the proof of your resilience, your commitment, and your character. Look, you've got the blueprint now, and you have a unique story that only you can tell. Use this guide to structure it, be honest about your journey, and build a statement that is 100% true to you. If you do that, you're going to create something truly compelling. Now go tell your story. Good luck.